troubles mount for Boeing. After 7 delays over 3 years, Boeing 787 has landed with a thud. This morning, an all-Nippon 787 had to make an emergency landing in Japan after pilots got battery fault warnings and saw smoke, leading ANA and Japan Airlines to ground all 24 Dreamliners for at least 2 days. Now, this is just the latest in a series of disasters in just a week that have hit Boeing. Okay, let's go through them. First, you have the fire on a 787 in Boston on January 7th, causing a small explosion. The next day, a fuel leak. Then All Nippon had to cancel a flight in Japan due to a problem with the brake system. And then the emergency landing this morning. So a lot of things causing concerns. Does this mean it's going to be the tipping point for Boeing? Let's bring in ABC aviation analyst John Nance. He's joining us from Dallas, a former pilot himself. John, great to have you here with us today.
Great to be back with you. Not former pilot. I still fly, just not commercially.
Excellent. All right. So, you told us before you had no problems with this plane, that you would fly it any day of the week. You would let your family fly it any day of the week. Do you feel any differently now?
In a word, no. Because, Trish, all these things that have been happening are, there are a couple of serious things, and I'll go over them, but they're really nitnoid problems, and they are just exactly as Boeing has said, growing pains. As a matter of fact, when the 380, Airbus's latest entry, released, it had all sorts of problems, including a massive engine explosion that almost ended in tragedy in Singapore, and it was very much in the spotlight for a number of weeks there, too. Unfortunately for Boeing, in terms of public relations, all this has happened in one chain. Now, the one thing that does worry me is the battery fire in the auxiliary power unit in Boston. Now, that airplane was on the ground, but what we're talking about here is a lithium-ion battery, and they do have that propensity. So that's something that's going to concern everybody until we make sure that the battery is safe in flight, especially on long over water. The one yesterday, apparently, no one knows whether there was really smoke or they just smelled something, but they had a warning. And why they emergency evacuated the airplane is still unclear to me. But each one of these are separate. There is no chain that you can kind of connect the dots to.
John, isn't that what's so concerning, the fact that there's not one single issue, but so many different issues?
No, not at all. This airplane has, like most big airplanes, millions of parts, literally millions. And when you take a look at how they're all put together, the first probably 50 to 100 airplanes off the production line, there are going to be things that happen. What we don't want to see is anything that would cause us to worry about the technology, the new technology in these airplanes of using composite materials in the fuselage, for instance, or a new engine that isn't performing well, or something of that nature. But we're not seeing anything like that.
Well, but what about the cracked windshield, though, John? I mean, couldn't you make the argument that it was, perhaps because there was a stress on the airframe because of these new composite materials?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, I know of not a single solitary jetliner of anybody's manufacturer that doesn't fairly routinely end up with cracked windshields. There are many different reasons for this that have to do with the way the windshields have to be built. So that one you can just kind of erase as a problem. The fuel leak you can erase as a problem. That was actually apparently a valve that was mispositioned twice in 2 different locations on the same airplane. Yeah. But we do have some serious things here to look at. It's just not a trend.
But the fear among so many consumers, and this is one of the reasons why this stock is trading down, Boeing stock is trading down, that other airlines won't want to buy these planes because consumers will be fearful, passengers will be fearful of flying these planes. The big fear, of course, for everyone is where there's smoke, there's fire. So in other words, if this many things are going wrong, who's to say that you won't have the battery catch on fire while you're up in flight, or something else that could potentially be even worse be a problem?
You could say that about any lithium-ion battery in any airplane, and there are certainly things in the Airbus fleet that we have questions about, too. This is just part of building an advanced jetliner. But no, there is, I tell you what, first of all, I wish we could get people as concerned about health care in terms of the potential dangers of safety. We kill 22 to 30 people an hour by medical mistake. But in aviation, we went 5 years from 2001 to 2006. We didn't kill a single passenger in 32,000 flight operations a day over the U.S., and then it's extrapolated all the way to today. I mean, this is so incredibly safe that it's not really comical, but it almost is in terms of how upset we all get when any little thing happens. But the bottom line here is there's nothing really wrong with this airplane that I have seen yet, although that battery problem worries me, and I want to know more about what happened yesterday.
All right, a strong endorsement of the Boeing 787 from aviation analyst at ABC, John Nance. Thank you, John, for being here.